Independence Day speech, renewed the federal government's impetus to resolving all challenges working against the interests of national sovereignty. Accordingly, the Nigerian Army bears the responsibility of holding true to its oath of allegiance in the defense of the nation's democracy against all conceived and perceived threats. When called upon by the President, Commander-in-Chief, or as may be prescribed by an act of the National Assembly to restore law and order. Consequently, the theme for the Chief of Army Staff's Annual Conference 2017 is reappraising the Nigerian Army's operational efficiency in containing contemporary national security challenges. This theme was carefully selected in pursuit of one of Mr. President's cardinal objectives of enhancing national security amidst the fight against corruption and economic growth. The nation's transnational threats, as mentioned by Mr. President in his speech in October this year at the United Nations General Assembly, is a pointer to the fact that the objectives of non-state actors in sub-Saharan Africa and indeed globally requires international collaboration to checkmate them. To this end, the United States AFRICOM has offered training and intelligence initiatives to 8 countries within the sub-Saharan regions threatened by the menace of non-state actors such as the Boko Haram terrorists and Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb. The United States Office of Security and Cooperation and the British Military Advisory and Training Team also embarked on the training of some Nigerian Army units as part of efforts to improve the combat efficiency of Nigerian Army personnel in counterinsurgency and counter-terrorism operations. The scourge of cross-border crimes like human and small arms trafficking, drugs peddling, smuggling, banditry, cyber threats, money laundering, espionage, terrorism, and many others have created an interest for non-state actors that must be decimated by joint and combined international efforts. The multinational Joint Task Force has thrived in this direction and has achieved appreciable successes along the nation's northeastern borders. The Nigerian Army leadership, in concert with the grand strategic focus of Mr. President, has continued to devise means of engaging with other countries, especially our neighboring countries, towards tackling common threats in order to meet considerable international obligations for the overall promotion of global peace and security. As a follow-up in the theme of this conference, and to reinforce the Nigerian Army's stance in its quest to defend the nation's democracy on the platform of constitutional imperatives, this conference will be listening to the only lecture today titled Nigeria's Unity and Sovereignty, a Patriotic and Constitutional Imperative for Nigerian Army, quote and unquote. This lecture will be delivered by one of us. I am referring to Major General Basharun Ike Sanda Omar Nwachukwu, retired. A seasoned military professional, a diplomat, a politician who is often described as a complete Nigerian due to his lineage to the north, the Middle Belt, the Southeast, South-South, and southwest, where he presently resides. In an interview of the Nigerian Army activities, the first quarter of 2017 was characterized by responsive operations such as Operation Deep Punch 1, Operation Rawankada, and Operation Deep Punch 2. These operations were geared towards destroying terrorist strongholds and rescuing abductees to complement earlier successes made against the Boko Haram terrorists in the year 2016. Others were Operation Sharandaji in the north central and northeast to support Operation Lafia Dole. Additionally, Operation Harbin Kunama 2 was an operation conducted in the first quarter covering the general areas of Falgore Forest in Kano State, the southern Kaduna in Kaduna State, and parts of Plateau and Bauchi states. The aim was to practice troops of one division internal security force in the field and to achieve an operational end state. The force was practiced in the art of sequencing in planning, preparation, and conduct of counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency operations, as well as curbing the menace of armed bandits and cattle rustlers within that area of operation. In the second quarter 2017, the Nigerian Army provided troops for the Defense Headquarters Operation Dokaje as a follow-up to Operation Sharandaji in the northwest and north central regions of the country. Others were Operation Safe Haven, which is ongoing within the general areas of Plateau and parts of Bauchi and Kaduna states. Similarly, the Nigerian Army troops have been engaged in Operation Delta Safe, being led by the Nigerian Navy in the Niger Delta region. This operation has reduced acts of criminality, especially pipeline vandalism and crude oil theft in the area, thereby enhancing the nation's crude oil revenue. In order to sustain the desired strategic end state, some of these operations, especially Operation Mesa, are being conducted throughout the year in 28 states of the country to create the enabling environment for security, peace, and economic growth. In the third quarter of the year 2017, the challenges of increased militancy, pipeline vandalism, and kidnapping in the southern part of the country were accorded appropriate attention in the Nigerian Army Order of Battle 2016 by the operationalization of the 6th Division with its headquarters in Port Harcourt. The Nigerian Army took deliveries of newly acquired platforms such as the Typhoon MRAPs, the Spartan armored personnel carriers, and the T-55 tank engines. Others are the T-72 tank engines, the armored fighting vehicle spares, and artillery systems. There were also engineer equipment, including minesweepers and demining equipment. In-theater training became necessary for troops in the front line to afford them the required capabilities to operate and conduct effective operations. The in-theater training was beneficial through the pre-deployment training conducted at the Nigerian Army Special Forces School at Buniyadi. This effort is being sustained. The increasing asymmetrical nature of our existential threats has continued to shape our response options in order to remain ahead of the adversary. One of such is the desire to attain maximum mobility and flexibility in operations in line with contemporary global best practices. Accordingly, a motorized battalion